Welcome to Suzanne's studio. I'm Suzanne Barnett, your host, and tonight I am so pleased to present my guest, Dr. Tracy Weiland, who is a prominent authority on the impact of technology on the office, careers, and society, and everything else. Tracy, I'm so glad to see you.
Thank you, Suzanne. It's so good to be here.
But I also want to tell the audience that you have authored 11 books, and you have been on CNN, NBC, Fox, what else?
Well, I've been on
Yeah.
the major networks
Yeah,
and a lot of
yeah.
radio, and it's been really exciting to be able to share research with people like yourself.
Well, let me ask you, how in the world did you get started? And you're a doctor, PhD. Tell.
Well, it wasn't an easy path, for sure.
Yeah.
So I am every woman. And I just went to school, and I actually wasn't too interested in college, quite frankly. But I had parents who felt that you needed a college degree. And then after college, I actually worked and got stalled out at work and was told one of the reasons I wasn't getting ahead is because I didn't have an MBA. And this is Silicon Valley, and it's a critical degree, either Master's of Business or Engineering. And then I just kept going. I figured the world is changing, it's competitive, and I just kept going to school at night and weekends until I got through a doctorate, a postdoctorate, and a visiting scholar eventually at Stanford.
Yeah, you're a scholar at Stanford.
Which is a researcher, so it's just the continuation. What I realize is we need to continually learn and educate ourselves to keep employed. And that, I think, is realistic in Silicon Valley because it is such a competitive environment.
And I still think, although I know you've done so much for women, Tracy, but I still think that women aren't paid equally. Are they?
Well, it depends. Okay, so the studies show, yes, that women and men's salaries are not exactly the same. There are more recent studies that show that women and men graduating college in certain industries are at par, but then something happens later on in their careers. What I encourage women to do is think about their life and their planning, including their own financial opportunities. That money can be made not just at work, it could be made through investments, it could be made by writing books, it could be made in a number of ways. So be savvy about your financial portfolio so that you can always make sure that you meet your goals.
Well, just looking at you, etc., you're an inspiration for a lot of women. You really are. And you're not full of yourself like so many people that are as famous as you are.
No, well, they are very kind. I think
No,
it's
really.
important that women, which you reach out to women, I reach out to women, that's how movement happens. If we keep continuing to inspire women, be role models for other women, show them how things get done, and encourage them, and I think that's important.
Well, this is February, and tell what's happening next month in March.
Yes, so March is Women's Month. It's my favorite month of the year because we get to celebrate women's success for a whole month. And it's very exciting. I blog about it. I interview women about their stories, their success stories. I talk about them on the radio and TV as much as I can because I like to remind people that women are a force. And my blog this month, coming in March, is called Women Up because I'm very up on women, which is a play on the word of man up.
Yeah, go on.
So I looked at actually women of all generations and industries to see what are some of the inspiring things that are happening out there. And for one is women in business. You know, women in business are growing at 1.5 times faster than other businesses in the United States. And a lot of this is due to the fact that women are looking at work, they're looking at their passions, they're looking at their interests, and saying, I can start a business. And they are starting businesses, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's owning their business, or franchising. And that's very exciting to me.
So, is this a good time to talk about your friend?
Yes,
Tell.
yes. So I was contacted by a lovely woman, Anna, who has her firm called Le Lune. It's in the San Francisco Bay Area. And she told me about her clothing industry that she started. She designs her dresses, shawls, nightwear. They're made out of bamboo fabric,
No kidding.
which is amazing because it's so
Oh, soft, yeah.
It's like silk, but so much more versatile. And she actually produces them in Shanghai, and her main team is in San Francisco. And so she sent us just a couple of pieces for us to share with your viewers. But I asked her about why did she create the line, and she said we're all modern working women. And for years, we've been told to really look like mini men in the workforce. And instead, we need to start designing clothes that a modern working woman can wear and enjoy and relax in. And that inspired her to create all of these pieces. And I thought that was interesting. The other point she said is she looks at the whole of the dragon. So as a woman designs, she looks from head all the way down to the toe and encourages that women have pieces to really create their own whole dragon. So it's very inspiring. So she sent for you, Suzanne, a shawl, which is very luxurious, a beautiful dress, and some nightwear.
So I'll have to, I'll be very anxious to try them out. Maybe have her on the show sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just
Oh, yeah.
one of the many women who I've met who are doing something really interesting.
But let me ask you something. The fact that so many things are bought online, and what happens to small businesses, even with the men, with the big stores, you know, like Walmart, Target, etc. I mean, the competition is so keen. How do they get through that?
So I think there's an opportunity, and women excel at social media, you know, Facebook and Pinterest and LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook. And that's the way that you can actually sell. And many women have found that they can sell in greater amounts by using social media and also distribute products such as these in major retailers such as Nordstrom or Walmart or Macy's.
So they really, as long as their predominance is online, rather than having a shop.
Well, I think you need to develop a strategy, and the social media is a distribution strategy. And it may be that you're selling online because, let's face it, it's a lot lower cost than putting it in building your own store. But you also may want to distribute through a store. You also may want to distribute through a high-end shop. So there's a lot of ways that you can actually be successful in retail today, much more than years ago. And all of that is because of technology.
I know. So how does, I mean, this is a major question. We'll have to have 10 shows talking about how technology has affected everything.
Oh, that is
I know,
10 shows.
but put it in a paragraph. Could you do that?
Sure. So technology is really rapidly accelerating a lot of the advancements in society. So for example, I look at women and say, because of technology, we have washing machines and dishwashers. And that allowed the women to leave the home. And then we had microwaves. And now we have cell phones, so we can stay connected and still be busy. And now we have social media, so we don't, and email, so we don't have to write letters anymore. So technology just keeps enabling us to do more and more things and actually even be more global. You know, if I think about my relatives overseas, we used to wait for each other's letters, but now we can just hop on text or email and communicate much faster. So technology even helps us travel. I mean, I remember when I started traveling and flights to Japan was maybe once a day. And now there's at least 5 or 10 every day. So it's exciting.
So when you do all your global speaking, what is that like for you? Tracy?
Ah.
Yeah, tell.
Oh, it's exciting. So I always worked overseas. That was always a component of my jobs. I was in manufacturing for a long time, overseas manufacturing for high-tech firms. And then I moved into a strategy role that involved really working with governments overseas. And now as a speaker, it's very inspiring because you see different pockets of the world have different technologies. If you go to China, they had online shipping, same-day shipping, before we did in the U.S. If you go to Europe, mobile phones are accelerated before us. If you go to India, the whole idea of data and being able to do analytics, and so I learn so much from when I go overseas, and it's really a sharing experience, not only culturally but also with technology.
Well, last time you were on the show, we were talking about how do older women
Yes.
get employed. I'm sure you have a story.
I do. I
Yeah.
have a story, and the woman I'm referring to is actually in the Bay Area, and she is 68. And her story was quite interesting. She left the workforce in her 40s. She was married with kids, and her husband was working, and they felt that it was fine until he got ill. And now he is unable to work, and in their 60s, they realized that somebody has to make some money. And she decided that she had to get back to work after 20 some odd years. So I asked her, what did you do? And she said, rule number one is reach out to everyone that you worked with in the past. Hopefully you had left on a positive note, you had positive relationships. Let them know your situation and be able to explain to them in that short paragraph what your skills and experience is. And she said, I was always a project manager for IT projects. That's what I did for companies.
IT?
Information technology.
Oh, okay.
And that's what she did for companies in the Bay Area. And her colleagues remembered her. The ones who were working, some moved on, some had higher positions, and they encouraged her to send in her resume. Well, what she did is she sent it to them, met people, interviewed, and pursued contract work. So she got a contract job as a project manager. It was a little lower than she had wanted, but she realized she had to prove herself after not working for over 20 years. And she was a star. She was a star. And after 6 months, she was hired full-time, and she's still hired today.
No kidding.
So that's exciting to me.
Yeah.
So some of the points is, one, keep up your networks. Number two, identify your key skills and experience, because that doesn't go away. Number three is don't be afraid of taking on a freelance or contract position. And number four is target companies that really can, or organizations that embrace age. So whether you're young and you're targeting a startup that might embrace a young age, look at companies or education institutions or nonprofits that really embrace more seasoned age. And by putting that together, she was able to really get herself back and full-time employed in her 60s.
Oh, she must be so excited, and you are too.
Oh, yeah.
But how often does this happen?
Well, sadly, not as much as I'd like to see, but here's the thing. Over 40% of Americans today are working freelance, are contracting, and this is becoming the new norm. So I think there's more opportunities.
40%, that's a pretty good number.
Sure, and
Yeah.
they're saying that this may be the new wave, that, as society evolves, is it really about the full-time job, or is it about having a portfolio career, which is a collection of projects, project work, contract work, and and volunteer work that puts it together. Another story is a gentleman told me that he volunteered for a hospital 1 day a week while he was looking for a job. But the reason he volunteered is he volunteered in a position that he eventually hoped would open up, and that since he was already volunteering, would be on the inside track. It took him about a year, another gentleman in his 60s, and he was brought on as a full-time contractor and eventually brought on as a full-time employee. So I think strategy, what do you do, right? What do you do well that you can get paid for, and how do you get it, whether it's through volunteering or part-time work? Consulting is another one. So there are ways that you can get employed.
And how do people, if they don't have a computer, for example, I'm just thinking of, I have to be the devil's advocate. But what if they don't have a computer? How do they get themselves out there?
You know, I'll tell you a story. When I first came out to California, I had left my job, and I was sure, I was in sales, that I would get a job out here. And I didn't. And it was very tough. And the reason I didn't get a job when I first came out here is because I wasn't technical enough and I didn't have the MBA. So what did I do? And I didn't know how to use a computer. So I temped. I did temp work. I worked for Nordstrom as a retail. I temped through one of these temp firms, and I asked them to put me in positions that I would be forced to learn the computer, even if it was secretarial. And I actually worked in a restaurant bar at night, so I had food and drink, clothing, food, drink, skills, and money. That was my strategy. And I needed 3 jobs to survive in California. And eventually, one of those temp jobs led me into Apple Computer. And the reason is that I was learning technology. I just forced it every day because I had to survive to get paid in that temp job. And then I got pretty good at it, got comfortable with it. And then I said, could you place me at Apple? Could you keep placing me at Apple? Because I think that's the company I want to work for. And that's a strategy.
But you must have been very young.
I was not as young. I was in my late 20s.
Well, that's pretty young, my goodness.
Well, most people are well
Yeah,
on their way in their 20s.
I see, yeah.
And so it was a major transition. But the strategy was the same, is that you can temp. I also encourage people to not discount sales jobs, particularly quota jobs, because these are ways that you can prove yourself.
What are quota jobs?
Quota jobs, so if you're selling, so for example in retail, you get a commission. So you can develop skill of sales, and while you're doing that, you can also learn about whether it's retail or auto sales or an industry, real estate or some other area, and all of the technology in that industry.
So you can't just start at the very top. Anybody.
Well, I'm sure
practically.
there are people who start at the very top, but if you,
But very few.
sure,
Yeah.
I think in our digital world, technology is becoming more and more important. So you can go to, like I do, to Apple and Microsoft stores, and I get tutorials and seminars and hands-on learning on the equipment. I've taken classes at community colleges and adult ed. I mean, it's a continuous evolution. I also encourage people to try to find something that you like to do, whether it's recipes or photos of your grandkids, to try to really touch the technology.
And that is like learning a different language, just to learn the computer. Then you get your iPad, etc., right?
Well, Suzanne, I'm noticing you're using an iPhone there.
Oh, I hope so.
Yes.
And I also have an iPad,
An
too.
iPad. So a lot of people
Yeah.
start off using
The com-
devices that are comfortable, and
yeah.
then they expand, because you're right, it is a language. It's a language that you can use on a lot of different devices once you understand the language.
And it's practice. Even if you're really brilliant, you still have to practice, whatever, right?
You do.
I keep telling myself that.
You do, and if you're on YouTube, there's a lot of tutorials. I love going out to YouTube.
I know it. And I used to resist learning. I didn't want to do the computer because I'm an artist and my left brain doesn't work. But slowly, little by little, and just to be able to go to Safari, to the internet.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to the library or anything.
That's right.
But tell a lot of old people that, and they say, I don't want to do that, which is a mistake. But now tell about shacking up, because that was something you were going to talk about.
That's right. So
Yeah.
AARP did some very interesting studies of what are some of the new trends for women over 50. And they said there were 2 trends. Women are traveling and shacking up. So shacking up is, if you might remember the show called Golden Girls, where there were 4 women who were either widowed or divorced, and they decided to live together in Florida in a house. Well, according to AARP, this is the trend again, and it's increasing, and that women are finding that it's more efficient to live with friends and split the chores and the finances and the cooking and all of the activities. And it's a lot more comforting because you have a community. And then on the traveling side, that women over 50 are taking an average of 5 trips a year. A lot are US based, some international, and they're doing it either for summer vacation, for family reasons to get multiple generations together, or they have a bucket list and they want to get through a bucket list of traveling the world. And there's a lot of groups out there that are really supporting women doing group travel. So those are 2 trends that I thought were fun that really our seasoned women are spearheading and driving a new trend.
Okay, so tell more now about what happens in March.
Well, in March, I love March because so many organizations really salute women. They invite me in to give speeches. The radio shows ask me to come on and talk about some of the trends like we were discussing today, TV shows, and so it's very exciting. But basically, women are put in the spotlight, and I really think that they should be in the spotlight because it's been, very exciting. I mean, I think 2015, women in politics will be the dinner conversation.
Oh, yes.
Let's face it, between Hillary Clinton and,
Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth
Yeah.
Warren.
Yeah.
Even Carly Fiorina was putting her hat in the ring.
Right.
But it will be a conversation of women in politics. And Janet Yellen, the head of the Fed, even changed it from chairman to chair. So she said, I want more gender neutrality at the Fed. So it's just exciting. So we just try to, celebrate all of these successes that women have.
And where do these celebrations take place?
Oh, they're all over. Last year I was at NASA. The year I was invited to some government get-togethers, corporations usually pick a day and they bring in speakers to really inspire women and talk about women's careers. So there's a number of activities that you'll see throughout March. Hopefully there'll be some in the Bay Area as well.
I hope so. Now let's talk. I haven't read any of my notes. We have such good questions, but what I like to do is what we're doing now. Think of the moment and what is really important. So it's your turn.
Well, I think
Ciao.
it's really important. So this is what I encourage people to do in March. Think about our younger women and encourage them. A lot of young women today are much more confident than previous generations. And I would encourage people to expose them to as much as you can, whether it's technology, finance, sports, travel, business, and put in their mind the expectation that there are no obstacles, or if there are obstacles, they can overcome them, whether it's through their own diligence, through getting an education, as I did. There is a way. I think younger women need to have that constant messaging that they are achievers and they're special and they'll have success.
That is wonderful advice, just to support them. And I wonder how many young women are influenced so much by their family. Like if they have a line of lawyers, they want their kids to be lawyers, and that's the last thing that kid really wants.
Yeah.
So how do you educate the parents of the young people? How would you do that?
Sure, I'll tell you a story because
Okay.
a colleague of mine, she was just a mom, basically, not just a mom, but she had a young daughter who was excelling in science and math. And she was excited for her daughter because she thought she was going to pursue medicine or pharmaceuticals. And when her daughter got to the high school, she started to feel like maybe she should change her mind about colleges and her degree because of other people telling her maybe she move into marketing or communications. And her mother knew nothing about science. So the first thing she did is she went out and asked all her neighbors, do you know a woman successful in math and science? I need to show my daughter a role model. I'm not the role model for her, but I need her to see a successful woman. And they did. They found her a biologist who was very successful, traveling the world, married, having a great social life and a great life in general. And she had her sit down with her daughter and got her daughter back on track to pursue what she wanted to pursue. So I think sometimes that, women are persuaded by the masses. So if you see that your daughter has a special talent and you can't help her, find a role model. Find someone, expose her to someone who is successful.
What a good idea that is.
Yes.
Really. And today is so different than my era. And I think people, generally speaking, are much more open to say, hey, it's okay. You want to do what you want to do, go for it. Don't
Yeah.
you think?
Oh,
I mean, I
yes.
really do, with all the advertisement and everything. You know, we only have a couple of minutes left, Tracy. I always ask you this. You promise to come back because you're so inspiring. And we need women like you
Oh, well, thank you.
as our guests so that the audience can see what a success. And one more thing, in 2013, you were voted the most valuable, is that the word?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell.
So the San Francisco Women of the Year award in 2013 and in 2012, it was from the Business Times in San Jose. And what they were really celebrating was my work as a researcher, my work in technology and helping women, and I really appreciated those honors.
Do you have a big trophy?
No.
No. I'd have one made and pretend that they gave it to me.
Just mentioning it is good enough.
Okay,
Thank you.
Tracy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just enjoy having you as my guest
Oh, thank you.
tremendously. And I want to thank our crew. I always say this because it's so important. Without our crew, we wouldn't have a show. And of course, KMVT, our station, is just wonderful. It really is. And of course, I want to thank you all, my audience, for watching. And I simply can't wait to see you next time. Bye-bye.